Welcome to a brand new Thanksgiving Eve tradition, the seventh annual Strictly Sports Football Feast. Anthony Florio here, alongside Michael Bullock. I don't know if good old MF Michael Fletcher will be joining us or not, because he does have work commitments. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully see him when we're next with you on Friday night. But for right now, another football feast is here and it's now. And you know how we do it here. Most of you do. But for those of you who are watching for the first time, it's very simple. We give our thoughts, we preview the three NFL Thanksgiving games, and then the college football schedule. So that's how we do it here. We'll also do a quick power poll as well. I'll handle that. Should MF not be with us? So with all that being said, let's dive on in, and we will get into our first matchup of the week. Of course, it starts tomorrow with our three NFL Thanksgiving matchups. We started off with our first game, which will air at 12:30 tomorrow on CBS. A matchup of the Chicago Bears squaring off against the Detroit Lions from Ford Field in Detroit on CBS. And on the call for this one, you know who it is. Hello, friends. Jim Nance, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson. They will be in Detroit for this latest installment of the Bear and Lion rivalry. And this will be the second time in 11 days these two teams will be meeting, because they did meet back on November the 11th in Chicago, and the Bears won that one at Soldier Field 34-22. So you can add another win for the Chicago Bears in this rivalry, and they now lead it 98-74 with 5 ties. And let me see here. Well, they snapped a three-game losing streak to the Lions. It was their first win over the Lions since they won at home in 2016. The Bears have not won in Detroit since 2012, 26-24. The Lions have won the last 5 meetings in Detroit, including last year, 20-10. So bear with me for a minute as I have a lot of information that I have to, get up here. So looking at the spread favors the Chicago Bears by 2.5 to 3. So I believe that's all the schematics here. So here we go. All right, just trying to find the right information here. Okay. Just trying to load this up. Okay. Now we're ready to go. All right. The Bears' drubbing of the Lions at Soldier Field a week and a half ago became infamous as the Cody Parkey game, as he hit the upright on 2 field goals and 2 extra points. The Bears would be thrilled with a repeat of that many chances again. Behind Mitchell Trubisky, they pretty much scored at will. And if the defense makes a wreck of Matthew Stafford the way they did then and did last Sunday night to Kirk Cousins, this could be a result America is familiar with and accustomed to every year. So, needless for me to say here, I do have a little more I want to get into, and this might feel like a bear trap after Chicago's emotional win at home over Minnesota, now playing on a short week in the division on the road. But then the Lions will be without their key offensive player, running back Kerryon Johnson. That leaves little to help Matthew Stafford survive Khalil Mack and the Bears' pass rush. On the other side, Mitchell Trubisky will find favorable matchups against Detroit's defense. Even with Darius Slay playing in this game, Chicago will spoil the tradition for the host and continue its strong march toward its first NFC North title in 8 years. So, with all that being said, I'm going with the Chicago Bears to win this game. I'm going to say the final score will be 30-20, Chicago over Detroit. Nothing more to say except Michael Bullock, come on in. Happy Thanksgiving Eve to you, sir. And
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Yes, thank you. Same to you. And another football feast here and now. And we started off with the Bears and the Lions in Detroit, 12:30 on CBS. Hello, friends. He's going to be there.
Yep, he's definitely going to be there, no doubt about it. And of course, hello friends, Mike Bullock here, and of course, I want to take this opportunity to wish everybody out there a very happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully, your Thanksgiving is going to be a great one tomorrow, and we'll definitely talk more about it later on when we close the show. So, yeah, and Anthony, I actually found out some breaking news when it comes to Mitchell Trubisky earlier today. He's listed as doubtful, so it looks like he may not be able to go. And Chase Daniel might be the one that gets the start for the Chicago Bears tomorrow. So this may give the Lions an absolute chance to maybe take one here. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, yeah, they're still gonna. I mean, the Lions may not have Kerryon Johnson, and it may make things tough for Matthew Stafford against that Bears defense. And I think because of that, I think it could be a low scoring affair. But I think no Mitchell Trubisky could prove tough for the Bears. So I'm actually going to take a chance here, and I'm actually going to, huh? Oh, I thought you said something. So I'm actually going to take a chance, and I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions to win this one. I'm going to say my final score is going to be, um, I'm actually going to go 20-17 is going to be my final score. I mean, if Mitchell Trubisky was playing, then I'd probably go with the Chicago Bears. But I mean, Chase Daniel starting, I really don't trust him whatsoever. So 20-17, Detroit upsets the Chicago Bears. So with that being said, Florio, let's move on to our next Thanksgiving Day game, and this one will have huge implications when it comes to the NFC East.
Oh, absolutely. 4 o'clock on Fox. We have the Washington Redskins squaring off against the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Aaron Andrews, they will be there in Dallas for this one. These two teams met last month, back on October 21. Who will ever forget it? It was a game on CBS. It was in Washington, and the Dallas Cowboys won that. I should say the Redskins won that game. My mistake. Redskins won that one, 20-17, and Washington cut into Dallas's all-time series lead. It's now 70-43 with two ties, and they snapped a four-game losing streak to the Cowboys. The Cowboys had swept the season series each of the last 2 years before the Redskins beat the Cowboys at home for the first time since 2012. Redskins will look to win in Dallas for the first time since 2015. Now, Cowboys have won the last 2 years at home, so that's the story there. And we have the Cowboys opening up as 7-point favorites. And Bullock, you're absolutely right. Bullock, you heard Bullock just a moment ago. You heard what Bullock said. Major implications in the NFC East. Oh, yes. Sole possession of first in the NFC East to the winner. Who gets it, Bullock? But then again, Washington. Let's keep in mind, Alex Smith. You know what happened. Derek Ferreira posted the video on his YouTube.
Yeah, pretty gruesome.
All I can say is, if you're squeamish, don't look. That's all there is to say on that.
Yeah, if you're squeamish, don't even watch it. I mean, I actually did see it, and let's just say I got a little squeamish.
I don't blame you. I mean, I know you're not the only one.
Yeah, I can't help but feel bad for Alex Smith.
I know he was having a great year with the Washington Redskins, and I mean, much improved, and then they had that tough luck loss. They not only lost their quarterback, they lost the game to the red hot Houston Texans. We'll talk about them on Friday night, but nonetheless, Bullock, Redskins, Cowboys, first place in the NFC East to the winner. Who gets it?
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about it. I mean, you talk about a double whammy for the Redskins. I mean, first they lose a game to the Houston Texans, the red hot Houston Texans. And then, of course, to make matters worse, Alex Smith done for the season with that broken tibia and fibula. And like I said, and like we both had said, if you want to see what happened, we put a word of warning out. It's not for the weak of heart, no doubt about it. But now Colt McCoy is going to be the signal caller here, and he's going to have a huge task here to help keep this Redskins team going and keep that possession of first place in the NFC East. But yeah, I mean the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, what can you say? I mean, they got a big win last week against the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta, and let's not forget the last time. I don't know if you mentioned it, but the last time. I mean, we got to go back to 2012 when the Redskins and the Cowboys played on Thanksgiving Day in 2012, and what a game that turned out to be. But yeah, I mean, yeah, and of course, yeah, I mean, basically, I mean, this is a chance for Dallas to really right the ship here. I mean, and continue their momentum from last week's game against Atlanta. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott has been playing well as of late, running the football. I expect Dak Prescott to find Amari Cooper, and it's gonna make things tough for the Redskins. I just, who knows? Maybe this could be a game that really motivates them, but I just don't see it happening, especially against the Dallas Cowboys here. So I'm actually going to take a chance, and I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to win this one. I'm going to say my final score is going to be, I'm going to go 31 to, I'm going to go 31-20 is going to be my final score here. Yeah, so I expect the momentum for the Dallas Cowboys to continue and basically take sole position of first place in the NFC East as we head down the home stretch of the 2018 regular season here. So, Florio, who do you think is going to come out and get sole possession of first place in that NFC East? It's basically open to it's open not just to Washington and Dallas, but I think it just gave the Philadelphia Eagles new life.
You really think so? After what happened to the Eagles Sunday?
Oh yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. What happened Sunday with the Eagles was bad, but brutal. Now with what just happened with Alex Smith, I mean, it could give him a chance. I mean, it could. I mean, do I think it could happen?
No.
Maybe not. But I've seen crazy things happen down the final stretch of the season. So
this is true. This is true.
So we just got to wait and see. So who you got?
Well, for Philly, I mean, they need to win and they need lots of help. That's all there is to say on that. So, but anywho, yeah, you said it. I mean, the Redskins will be starting Colt McCoy at quarterback, which isn't much of a drop off from Alex Smith in terms of the game plan. They will still be all about power running with Adrian Peterson and complementing that with a conservative passing game, slowing the game down. The problem is that plays into the hands of Leighton Vander Esch and a swarming Cowboy front seven, which will carry over the momentum from the Eagles and Falcons wins. On the other side, Washington's attention on Ezekiel Elliott's running will set up Dak Prescott to pick apart the secondary with play-action shots downfield against weak outside coverage. McCoy and Peterson will keep it somewhat close, but I don't think it's going to be close enough. You said you had Dallas, Bullock? Well, I agree with you. I got Dallas winning this one as well. I'm going to go 24-17. I mean, it could go either way. I mean, you never know. And yes, I mean, we'll never forget that five-star classic that these two teams had on Thanksgiving in 2012. You know, Robert Griffin III. I mean, I'll never forget it. I mean, it was fun to watch, and that's all there is to say on that. And you know, we'll never forget it. And I did have one other thing I wanted to mention, and that is there will be great nostalgia for the last time Colt McCoy started in in Dallas. It was a lights out performance as a fill-in back in 2014. McCoy, of course, is also a Texas college legend. If that moves Washington enough to overcome the increasing odds against him in this, it would be memorable. But the odds are long. The Cowboys are not looking like world beaters lately. But after wins over the Eagles and Falcons and the production of Ezekiel Elliott, 273 combined rushing yards, 388 total, they bring plenty to this game. So it's definitely Dallas. So I think 24-17 is the appropriate final score for that one. And now we move on to our third and final Thanksgiving game, which will be in prime time over on NBC. A matchup of the Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints. This one will be at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. The Saints are opening up huge favorites. They're opening up as 12 to 13.5 point favorites, which is very, very steep, if I'm going to be honest. And so looking in, just want to quickly see. All right. And I forgot to mention Christina Pink will also be working the sidelines with Aaron Andrews for that Redskin Cowboy game. I forgot to mention that. And it's not going to be your usual crew. It's not going to be Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth. It's actually going to be Mike Tirico, Tony Dungy, and Rodney Harrison working this game along with Michelle Tafoya. So Mike Tirico, Tony Dungy, Rodney Harrison on the call for that one with Michelle Tafoya on the sidelines. So these two teams met earlier this season. They met back in week number 3 in Atlanta. A wild and crazy shootout. Saints winning that one. I believe it was 43-37 in overtime. And it was the Saints winning that in Atlanta. Their first win in Atlanta since 2015. This one is in New Orleans. Saints won last year's meeting in New Orleans 23-13. Falcons winning the year before in New Orleans 45-32. That was 2016. So I believe we have all the schematics in place here. So dive into this one. The Saints are coming off consecutive blowout wins outside of the division. Now they would love nothing more than to end the hated Falcons' wildcard playoff hopes. New Orleans has its eyes on playing in Atlanta for Super Bowl 53, and this game will not be an obstacle to the number 1 seed. But Matt Ryan is playing well, and the Falcons are desperate and ready to bring out their best to try to stay alive. The Saints should win comfortably at home, but these teams know each other well, and they typically play exciting, close games. Yes, history says it will be competitive. The Saints won what still is a contender for the game of the year in week 3, 43-37 in overtime in Atlanta. Obviously, the odds are that it will be a shootout. But the odds that the Falcons even serve as much as a speed bump to Drew Brees, the way he's playing right now, are extra slim. And it's in the Superdome. The Saints have scored 40 or more 6 times this season, the last 3 straight overall, and 4 times so far at home. So with all that being said, I got the New Orleans Saints winning this one in another shootout. I'm going to say 44-34. The New Orleans Saints keep their winning ways going. The hottest team in the league right now. Winners of 9 in a row after losing after that tough luck opening loss to Tampa Bay. Won 9 in a row. I think they make it 10. So give me the Saints 44-34. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock. The Saints have won 9 in a row. Do I hear 10?
Oh yeah, I hear 10 definitely. I mean, what can you say about this Saints team? I mean, they continue to be on an absolute tear right now. I mean, so many people, Florio. I mean, they say about the Rams. Representing the NFC in the Super Bowl, and rightfully so. But don't sleep on the Saints team, especially after what they did to the Rams in the Superdome. So I'm sure they're going to have something to say about it. And of course, with that ultimate thrashing of the Super Bowl champion Eagles, 48-7. I mean, this offense continues to be on an absolute tear. And you want to talk about Pat Mahomes in the MVP conversation? why not put Drew Brees in that conversation too? I mean, look at what he's doing at 39 years old. I mean, you keep thinking this guy's going to break down, but he just keeps getting better and better. Uh, and of course, when you got that monster running back duo of Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, and of course in the receiving game with Michael Thomas, who's been really on a roll, and now of course they got Brandon Marshall on that team, so it's another weapon for them, as if they needed another weapon. But defensively, I mean they're good. I mean, especially led by Cameron Jordan. So, but I think, like you said, Florio, I think this is going to be a shootout too. Um, I expect both teams to go over 40 points here. Um, I'm gonna go with the New Orleans Saints to win this one, make it 10 in a row for them. 45-42 is going to be my final score, and yeah, let this hot streak of the Saints continue. So that's pretty much all I got to say here. So that does it for the three Thanksgiving Day games here. So now let's move on to the top 25 games in college football for Thanksgiving weekend, and we actually got one on Thanksgiving night.
Indeed, we do, and also two very special words: rivalry week. I think.
Oh, this is where it gets really good here when it's rivalry week.
Oh, you ain't just whistling Dixie there, brother. I mean, this is gonna be. This
I
is the
think
most.
this is the second to last week of the regular season.
And this just might be the most exciting because we've got so many incredible matchups. I mean, this may be the most loaded slate we've seen yet, and we've had some loaded slates on the college football show. But nonetheless, as Bullock alluded to, let's get it started with our first game of the week, Thanksgiving night. So,
Especially after you have your Thanksgiving dinner and your dessert. I mean, why not enjoy a little college football?
how about a little egg bowl? How about a little egg bowl action there, Bullock?
Oh yeah.
The number 18 Mississippi State Bulldogs squaring off against their hated rivals, the Ole Miss Rebels, at Vaught Hemingway Stadium in Oxford. This one will be over on ESPN, and on the call for that one will be Dave Fleming, Greg McElroy, and Laura Rutledge. And the spread favors Mississippi State by 13. And I do believe I got all the schematics out of the way. So Bullock, let's get into the college football action here. And we started off with the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State and Ole Miss. Who you got?
Man, I mean, you talk about a rivalry here. I mean, the battle in the Egg Bowl. I mean, this is basically, I mean, the one. I mean, can you believe this, Florio? The 115th meeting between these two schools, dating back to 1901. I mean, can you believe that, Florio? I mean, that's a rivalry that's been going on for a long, long time. And
Like the Bears and the Packers in the NFL.
oh yeah, and let's just say the Ole Miss Rebels, they've had the, I mean, they've owned the Mississippi State during that time. I mean, they own them with a record of 64, 44, and 6. But in the last 20 meetings, the series has been it's been 10-10 when it comes to these two squads here. And, Mississippi State, I mean what they did, I mean erupting for 52 points against Arkansas, and it's the fourth game they've had 45 or more points during the season. And the Rebels, I mean it's been a tough year for them, basically uh, with a record of 5-6 overall, 1-6 in the SEC, and they're looking to end a 4-game losing streak. And let's just say, I mean, they're a bit discouraged after losing in overtime to Vanderbilt. So yeah, they got a tough task going up against Mississippi State here again. I mean, I mean, not just. I mean, the. I just think it's going to be tough for them for Ole Miss to hold down this offense led by quarterback Jordan Tamu and of course his favorite target AJ Brown. So I got Mississippi State winning this one. I'm going to say 38-20 is going to be my final score and make it now 64, 45 and 6 when it comes to this rivalry. So the Egg Bowl to me is going to go to the Mississippi State Bulldogs. So Florio, who's going to win this latest edition of the Egg Bowl?
I agree with you. I have Mississippi State winning as well. The Egg Bowl, excuse me, I said Egg Ball. Egg Bowl falls on Thanksgiving, and it's been a long road back for Mississippi State quarterback Nick Fitzgerald, who suffered a gruesome injury in this game last year. The Mississippi State Bulldogs' last 4 victories have been by 14 points or more, and Ole Miss ranks 113th in scoring defense. Simple math, it's Mississippi State all the way. I'm going to go 41-30, Mississippi State over Ole Miss. They win the Egg Bowl. So nothing more to say on that. Let's move on to our Friday slate of action. And we got 4 games on Black Friday. And we're going to start it off with our first one, which will be at high noon over on Fox Sports 1. We have the number 14 Texas Longhorns squaring off against the Kansas Jayhawks at Memorial Stadium in Lawrence, Kansas. As I said, this game will be on FS1. And on the call for this one will be Justin Kutcher, DeMarco Murray, Petros Papadakis, and Alex Curry. And Texas opening up as 15.5-point favorites. So let me get my notes on this one. Texas quarterback Sam Ehlinger is dealing with a shoulder injury, which will have an impact on the final spread, or the final score, rather. The Longhorns lost in their last visit in Lawrence, and their new head coach, Les Miles, might make an appearance, but that won't be enough to prevent the loss. Not yet, anyway. So I don't really have much to say on this one. I got Texas winning this one. They should win rather handily. I will go 42-24, Texas over Kansas. Nothing more to say. So Bullock, Kansas has a new head football coach, which we'll see next year, Les Miles. So big question is, can he get Kansas? Can he make Kansas football relevant? We'll find out next year. But for right now, your thoughts on Texas and Kansas for this year?
Yeah, and this is a big one for Texas because basically, they have a berth in the Big 12 championship on the line here. But yeah, I think they should have no problem with Kansas. And basically, yeah, you pretty much said it. I got Texas winning this one. I'm gonna say 38-13 is gonna be my final score. So there's really nothing more that needs to be said. So let's move on to our next game, and it involves the team that continues to be on a hot streak, the UCF Golden Knights.
Yes, indeed. The darlings of last year looking to be once again this year. The number 9 UCF Knights will be squaring off against the South Florida Bulls at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. A 4:15 kickoff over on ESPN. And on the call for this one will be Clay Matvick, Dan Orlovsky, and Paul Carcaterra. And the spread favors UCF 14-14.5. So Bullock, UCF, the darlings of last year. If they keep doing what they're doing, they're going to be the darlings of college football again this year.
Yeah, and I was the only one who went against UCF last week against Cincinnati, and yeah, how did that work for me?
Yeah,
not so good. I was just about to say, not so good.
You're right.
Yeah, so yeah, the thing is, all right, let's get to this. For South Florida, it's been more than a month since South Florida has won a game, but for UCF, it's been over, get this, 23 months since UCF last lost a game here. And I mean, they haven't lost a game since losing in the Cure Bowl in December 17th of 2016 when Arkansas State beat the crap out of them 31 to 17. I mean 31-13, I should say. And I mean, and then of course they opened up the 2017 campaign with a 61-17 rout of Florida International and haven't lost since then. So yeah, and basically, I mean, UCF continues to, like you said, be on that hot streak after. I mean, of course, beating Cincinnati last week. I mean, in that big game in prime time. So, and yeah, I mean, the UCF continues to play well offensively, and of course, led by junior quarterback Mackenzie Milton. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's done. So, yeah, so I expect that streak to continue to make it 11-0. I'm gonna say UCF wins. My final score, I'm gonna go 41 to 20. UCF beats South Florida, and they continue their winning ways. So, Florio, do the darlings of this year, UCF, continue their magical run again, or does South Florida have an upset in mind?
South Florida will keep it close, Bullock, but ultimately it's got to be UCF. I mean, the Knights are still trying to make a last-ditch impression on the playoff committee, and this was one of the most exciting games of the year last year. The Bulls are in a 4-game swoon, but they will pull out all the stops in the spoiler roll. This will be a fun game, but UCF, I think, will barely come out of this one alive. I think they'll stay unbeaten. I think they'll pull away late. So I will say UCF will go over here. My final score, I'm going to go 44-34 UCF over South Florida. I don't know if it'll be as exciting as that instant classic last year, but I got to go UCF here, 44-34. So with all that being said, let's move on. Oh, baby, here we go. I will consider this the number 2 game of the week right here. You can make an argument for this to be the game of the week, but for me, I consider this the number 2 game of the week because there's one game that's even bigger than this one. This will be in prime time tomorrow night, 8 o'clock on ESPN, or Friday night, rather. The number 6 Oklahoma Sooners squaring off against the number 13 West Virginia Mountaineers at Mountaineer Field at Milan Puskar Stadium in Morgantown. And this one will be over on ESPN. We will have Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, and Holly Rowe on the call. And Oklahoma opening up as 2.5 to 3-point favorites. So, oh, daddy, here we go. If you like offense, then this is the game. Oklahoma rank in the top 10 in scoring offense, numbers 1 and 10 respectively, and total offense, numbers 1 and 10 respectively. It could honestly come down to which team has the ball last that determines the winner of this game, though the Mountaineers do appear to have the better defense. That said, the Sooners haven't lost this game since West Virginia joined the Big 12. So I could go with the streak for one more year. It's a Big 12 shootout that should feature big points as usual, and the Mountaineers need this one to have a shot at the Big 12 championship. Oklahoma continues to be critiqued for their defense, and this game won't do much to help that perception. Kyler Murray will lead the offense, and Oklahoma running back Kennedy Brooks will be the difference in the fourth quarter. So there's nothing more for me to say except I got Oklahoma winning in what I believe will be a 5-star classic, chock full of Shakespearean drama at its finest. High-scoring affair. Oklahoma wins 52-48 over West Virginia. man alive, that is going to be a hella fun game on Friday night. I cannot wait. And the game will be going on when we do NFL Friday, and we'll definitely keep an eye on that one. But then again, we'll be keeping an eye on another game because we got another big one coming up in just a moment. So nothing more to say here. Oklahoma 52, West Virginia 48. Nothing more to say. Bullock, I mean, if it wasn't for a certain game in the Big Ten, this would have been the game of the week right here. But for now, this is only the number 2 game of the week. That's how loaded this card is this week.
And that's why we call it rivalry week, because we got some big games. And well, this game right here, this is definitely going to be a really good one. And I'll tell you what, if you're a person that likes defense, well, this is not the game for you right here, folks. Yeah, I mean, that Oklahoma offense led by Kyler Murray, who continues to impress everybody. And yeah, I mean, well, let's just say West Virginia's quarterback is pretty good too with Will Grier, and he's going to keep this West Virginia team in the game. And yeah, I mean I think this is going to be more than 40 points. I think this is going to be a 50 burger as far as I'm concerned. So I got Oklahoma winning as well. I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm actually going to go with that same score, Florio. 52-48. Oklahoma beats West Virginia and keeps its college football playoff hopes alive. So with that being said, let's get on to the final Friday game. And if you thought that one was good, this one here is going to be good as well in the Pac-12.
Oh, yes. Bullock, I got a question for you. Are you ready? How do you like your Apple Cup?
Oh, I like it really good.
Yeah, buddy. It's the Apple Cup. And to me, this is the number 3 game of the week right here, if I'm going to be honest. The number 16 Washington Huskies squaring off against the number 8 Washington State Cougars at Martin Stadium in Pullman, Washington. This game will be over on Fox. We got Joe Davis, we got Brady Quinn, we got Bruce Feldman, and the spread favors Washington State 2.5-3. So nothing more to say, Bullock. Who do you got in this latest installment of the Apple Cup?
Yeah, and this is basically the 111th edition of the Apple Cup. I mean, what can you say? I mean, this is another long running tradition, and yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, this is the first time since 2006 Washington State is actually. I mean, Washington State is favored in the Apple Cup. I mean, in all the other games, it's been Washington that's been the favorite, and yeah, I mean, and it's a big game on both sides. I mean, the Cougars are trying to keep their Pac-12 title hopes alive, and basically the winner will face the Pac-12 South champ Utah in the Pac-12 title game next weekend in Levi Stadium. So a lot at stake here. I mean, excuse me. I mean, Heisman candidate Gardner Minshew II, I mean, continues to play well, especially, I mean, they have the top scoring offense. I mean, averaging over 40 points a game. And to counter that, Washington has the conference's top scoring defense, allowing only almost 17 points a game. So something definitely has to give in this game. And Washington is definitely going to get some pressure on the quarterback, of course, led by, defensive end Shane Bowman, linebacker DJ Beavers, and defensive back Jordan Miller are really going to have to really play out of their minds if they're going to upset Washington State here. And despite Washington's dominance in the series, including an average winning margin of 20 3.8 points, and the Huskies 4-0 mark over Washington State under Peterson. And yeah, I mean this is going to be a fun game here, but I just think this is too tall of an order for Washington to try to contain this offense here. So I got Washington State winning this one. I'm going to go 37-34. Washington State wins the latest round of the Apple Cup. So, Florio, who's going to win this latest version of the Apple Cup?
Well, before I tell you, let me give you my thoughts on this. It's another game with conference championship implications. No team looks better in the Pac-12 than Washington State, but it's on Washington to upend. Well, but it's on Washington State to upend Washington's 5-year win streak in the Apple Cup. Gardner Minshew, 4,325 passing yards, 36 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Looks like a fringe Heisman Trophy contender. But he'll be going up against statistically the best defense he's faced all season. The next closest team would be potential Pac-12 title game opponent Utah, against which Washington State scored its second lowest points total in a 28-24 win. But I think Coach Mike Leach has his team ready for showdown en route to the Pac-12 championship game. Cougars are the story of the season, but this is the best team they faced in 2018. Washington has lost 3 games by 10 points, and Coach Chris Peterson has dominated the Apple Cup since his arrival. And it's on Gardner Minshew to make a Heisman statement and Jake Browning to play spoiler. So I agree with you, Bullock. I'm going with Washington State to win this one. The final score, I got it a little bit lower than you do. I think it'll be a high-scoring game, though. I'm going to say Washington State wins. I will say final score for me, I will go 31-28. Washington State over Washington in what should be maybe the most exciting Apple Cup game of all time in that illustrious rivalry. So there's really nothing more to say except, Oleg, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready for the game right here, folks.
The game of the week as we start the Saturday slate of action. There's nothing more to say except it's the game. And we're not talking Triple H, folks. We're talking the game right here. From the Big Ten, the number 4 Michigan Wolverines. I'm so excited about this game. I almost said Michigan State, but number 4 Michigan Wolverines, number 10 Ohio State Buckeyes, Ohio Stadium, the Horseshoe in Columbus. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, no game has bigger implications than this one does. Whoever wins this game will win the Big Ten East Division and will square off against Northwestern in the Big Ten Championship next week in Indianapolis. So, in a game of this magnitude, this game is on Fox, by the way. And, of course, you got to have the A-team on this one. You got to have Gus Johnson. You got to have Joel Klatt. You got to have the All-American girl, Jenny Taft. And Michigan opening up as 4.5 to 5-point favorites. And I know that's got to be very encouraging to Michigan fans. So, oh, my goodness. I mean, I had a big presentation for this one. I mean, man, I mean, you think about everything. I mean, I only wish MF was here. I mean, MF would have gone instant hype man on this one. I mean, but this is it. I mean, both teams are 10-1. Both teams, the cream of the crop when it comes to the Big Ten. And I can only imagine. Okay, wait, hang on a minute. I think I know where I found it. All right, just but man alive, the this is probably the most anticipated Michigan Ohio State game probably since I want to say 2006 when they had a game of the century and both teams were 1-2, and it ended up being a 5-star classic, chock full of Shakespearean drama at its finest. So with all that being said, here we go. Saturday's meeting between number 4 Michigan and number 10 Ohio State won't 2006, but the postseason ramifications, they're similar. Michigan's spot in the college football playoff is on the line, as is first place in the Big Ten East and the trip to the Big Ten championship game. Despite entering as the higher-ranked team, the Wolverines need to prove themselves the most, as they've been on the losing end of the rivalry in 15 of 17 games since the turn of the century. Unlike past years, the Wolverines have a legitimate shot at not only beating the Buckeyes, but dominating them. Quarterback Shea Patterson and running back Karan Higdon form a dynamic duo that will cause problems to an Ohio State defense that hasn't impressed anyone. Giving up 51 points to Maryland and 31 to Nebraska in 2 of the last 3 weeks showed how many holes the Buckeyes have in their defense, and in order to spoil Michigan's shot at the playoff, they'll need to improve drastically. The matchup to watch pits Ohio State quarterback Dwayne Haskins, who is the 3rd most prolific passer in the FBS, against a Michigan defense that ranks 1st in the nation in passing defense. Conversely, the Buckeyes rank 78th in passing defense and 75th in total defense. And there isn't a recent performance you can point at to convince anyone that Urban Meyer's team can reverse its defensive struggles. Even though the Buckeyes will come out on the losing end of the contest, they'll still be in contention to make the Rose Bowl if Michigan wins the Big Ten championship, because they would be the best team available for selection out of the Big Ten. Man alive. I mean, I believe in my heart of hearts. I mean, this is going to be a knockdown, drag out affair. This is going to be a physical, smash mouth, be a man type game right here, if I'm going to be quite honest. The game is finally here, and it's huge. The stakes have never been higher for Michigan and Ohio State for reasons both on and off the field. The Wolverines come in looking far and away the more complete team with a defense that could rival any in college football. Ohio State has managed escape after escape this season to arrive on this stage. It would be easy to make this out to be a quarterback duel between Shea Patterson and Dwayne Haskins, but it will be important for both teams to achieve success on the ground to avoid becoming one-dimensional. Right now, that favors Michigan with Rashawn Gary and Devin Bush, though Chase Winovich will be a big storyline as well. And the Wolverines are a risky favorite, considering Urban Meyer is both 6-0 in the game and as an underdog with the Buckeyes. Michigan hasn't won at Ohio Stadium since 2000. All that said, Michigan has been the more consistent team all year, and that will be the case in Columbus for the first time in a long time in what could be the biggest game of the Jim Harbaugh eras. So there's nothing left for me to say here. Michigan fans, you're going to love me for this. Normally, I would be inclined to go with Ohio State, and I would not be surprised if Ohio State were to pull the upset here. I would not be. Not at all. But in a game of this magnitude, and considering how well Michigan has played throughout this season, that tough luck loss to Notre Dame on opening night in Notre Dame, I have no choice. I have to go with the Michigan Wolverines in this one. My final score, it's a tough one to go with, but I will say Michigan will win in what I think will be another 5-star classic, chock full of Shakespearean drama at its finest. 31-26, Michigan over Ohio State, and continues this magical run for Michigan. So I only wish MF was here because, I would have loved to have gotten his thoughts on this game because there's no game that MF wants more as a Michigan fan than this one. This is the game he has circled in blood red. And I'm sure Bullock does too. So 31-26, Michigan over Ohio State. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, come on in here. So this is what the words main event were meant for because it is the main event. And brother,
boy, what can you say? This is why the definition of rivalry week, and this is it right here, the game. And for the first time since 2004, Michigan goes to Ohio Stadium for their annual showdown with Ohio State as a favorite. So, and the Wolverines, they have legitimate reasons to believe that this might be the year to take down the Buckeyes and nearly 2 decades of frustration. And it hasn't been good for Michigan against Ohio State. They've lost 13 of the last 14 meetings with their arch rival, and their only win during that time came in 2011 when Luke Fickell was Ohio State's interim coach for a season after Jim Tressel was forced to step down. And Ohio State has not been an underdog at home since that 2011 season against Wisconsin, a game that the Buckeyes won 33-29. And the last time, and that was the last time where they were not favored at home against Michigan, they went on to win that game 37-21. And the struggle has been real for Michigan and its fourth-year coach Jim Harbaugh, but they're ready to end Ohio State's domination. And Jim Harbaugh knows a lot about this rivalry. Going back to his days when he was back in 1986 when Harbaugh was the starting quarterback. And since the Big Ten, as usual when the teams meet, there's lots at stake for both teams. The winner goes to the Big Ten title game in Indianapolis and remains a player for the college football playoff Final Four. And since the Big Ten split into divisions in 2011, Michigan has never played in the championship game. And to get there, they have to win in Columbus for the first time since 2000. Adding a layer of intrigue to the week is speculation that this might be the last regular season game for Urban Meyer, who has never lost to Michigan as Ohio State's coach because of health issues. He appeared to be in pain on the sideline last week at Maryland. Many analysts see Michigan winning because of its defense ranks number 1 nationally in fewest yards allowed, and its offense has a quarterback in Shea Patterson who can make plays, and a running back in Kevin Higdon with over 1,100 yards rushing, second in the Big Ten behind only Wisconsin's Jonathan Taylor. Like Michigan, Ohio State has only lost once, but has shown more inconsistency this season, particularly on defense. Ohio State gave up more than 500 yards to Maryland in a 52-51 overtime victory last week. So there are fewer concerns about Ohio State's offense led by Dwayne Haskins, a deep group of playmaking receivers and a running back tandem of J.K. Dobbins and Michigan native Mike Weber. Haskins has broken numerous school season passing records this season, and last week, for the first time, showed a willingness to run when needed, scoring 3 touchdowns on the ground. And the sophomore is no stranger to this game because last year he relieved J.T. Barrett and rallied the Buckeyes to a 31-20 victory in Ann Arbor. So, yeah, both sides are fired up for this big one, and the entire college football world will have its eye on this game because if Michigan wins, and then they win next week, they're assured a spot in the college football playoff. But if Ohio State pulls off the upset, all I can say is, Florio, we're going to have ourselves some chaos with this college football playoff. So a lot at stake here. And I agree with you, Florio. I think this is the year. I think this is the year Michigan ends its run of bad luck with Ohio State, and I think they're finally going to get the job done. They're going to hold down Haskins, and Michigan will win this, punch their ticket to the Big Ten title game. My final score, 27-24. Michigan finally, by God, finally will beat the Ohio State Buckeyes under head coach Jim Harbaugh. So, nothing more to say here. Florio, let's move on to our next game.
To wrap it up after that, because that's the game right there, but we still have some more action to come.
Yeah, we still got a number of games left to go.
Yeah, oh yeah. So let's get into our next one. This will be high noon over on the SEC Network. We have the number 5 Maiden Georgia Bulldogs at home at Sanford Stadium in Athens. You know, with those infamous hedges, they're going to be hosting their in-state rivals, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. We have Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, and Cole Kubelik on the call. Maiden Georgia Bulldogs opening up as 17-point favorites. So, Bullock, I think we all know how this one goes down.
Oh yeah, it's going to be the Maine Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, again, this is another rivalry, but I don't see a lot of drama with this one. I mean, Georgia. I mean, they need to finish up strong and hopefully for a lot of help if they want to get into the college football playoff. And the focus of Georgia coach Kirby Smart is as it always is finding a way to slow down the triple option attack of Georgia Tech, which is averaging an FBS best 353 yards a game. Getting ready for the Bulldogs will see is a season-long chore. So Georgia Tech's defense will face a challenge of its own, stopping a Bulldogs offense that is averaging 483 yards a game, along with almost 40 points a game. So that's definitely going to be a tall order, which I just don't see happening. Jake Fromm is going to continue to play really well. I mean, he's had over 2,000 yards passing with 20 touchdowns and only 5 picks. And he is 22-3 as a starter, including 8-3 against top 25 teams. So nothing really more to say. I got Georgia winning this one, and no problem. So I got nothing more to say. Florio, I give it to you.
It's worth knowing, Bullock, that the Yellow Jackets have won their last 4 games, including 3 straight games by 10 points or fewer. The road team has won the last 4 meetings. The Bulldogs, however, will take care of business, but I don't think it's going to be as complete of a rollover as you think. So I'm going with Maine and Georgia to win this one. I will say the final score for that should be 31-17 in favor of the Maine and Georgia Bulldogs. Is get their revenge on Alabama and win the SEC championship next week, which, as we all know, will be is already our game of the week for next week. So that's already a given based on the other action coming up. So, yep. So I just want to make sure I went through all of my information here. Yes, I did. Okay. So that's it for that one. 31-17 Georgia over Georgia Tech. So let's move on now to our next matchup, high noon over on ABC. We go from the Battle of Georgia to the Battle of Florida. The number 11 Florida Gators squaring off against the Florida State Seminoles at Bobby Bowden Field at Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee. This game will be over on ABC. And we will have Dave Patch, Greg McElroy, and Tom Luganville on the call. And Florida opening up as a 7-point favorite. So the 5-6 Seminoles need this game against rival Florida to extend the nation's longest bowl streak to 37 years. Unfortunately for Florida State, Florida comes into this game looking like the clear better team for the first time in several years. Quarterback Felipe Franks has played relatively well, throwing for 435 yards and 4 touchdowns. He should have similar success against the Seminoles defense that ranks 107th in pass defense. They're allowing 270 passing yards a game. A set of notes here. Let me see. The Seminoles need this one to extend the nation's longest bowl streak to 37 seasons. The Gators needed to keep their New Year's 6 bowl hopes alive. The Seminoles have won 5 in a row in the series, and it will be on Florida quarterback Felipe Franks to change that for the Gators. It will not be easy, but I got the Florida Gators winning this one. I will say final score 27-20, Florida over Florida State. So nothing more to say. So Bullock, who do you got in the Battle of Florida?
I think it's simple. I got the Florida Gators winning this one. I mean, yeah, Florida State, I mean, like you said, they definitely, I mean, they need this win more, I mean, to extend its streak of bowl appearances. I mean, they've been in, and here's, I mean, they have qualified for a bowl game every year since 1981. An NCAA record streak that spans 36 years. And the Seminoles, they haven't had a losing season since 1975, but Florida coach Dan Mullen would be just fine with seeing both those go down in flames Saturday. So, yeah, this hasn't been the year that rookie Florida State coach Willie Taggart expected in his first season. So, to me, I got Florida winning this one. I'm going to say 34-20 is going to be my final score. So, nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next game, which comes from the ACC.
Yes, sir. The number 20, Syracuse Orange, squaring off against the Boston College Eagles at Alumni Stadium. This one over on ESPN, high noon. And we will have Bob Wischusen, Brock Heward, and Allison Williams on the call. And excuse me one moment. The spread favors, I believe it favors Syracuse here. So,
well, actually, Florio, according to what I see from ESPN, they actually have Boston College as a 6.5-point favorite.
Yes, they do. Boston College is actually I have 7 to 7.5 for BC. So, let me see here. I believe you started off, Bullock. So.
Yeah, I started off.
Yep. So Syracuse, man, what happened to them against Notre Dame last week? We had this as a game of we had this as the game of the week. We thought they were going to give Notre Dame major fits. Oh no, they didn't even show up to Yankee Stadium.
I was just about to say they didn't even show up.
They didn't show up. Notre Dame.
Their bodies were in the Yankee Stadium, but their minds were someplace else.
Yeah, it was all Notre Dame in that one. And Boston College, you know, they had that primetime game against Clemson a couple weeks ago. They didn't even show up for that one either. So who do you have in this sleeper game out of the ACC? Syracuse?
What about last week with Boston College?
Yeah, BC.
They lost to Florida State.
Unbelievable.
On a 74-yard touchdown bomb in the final minutes. I mean,
Someone's got to give here.
yeah, yeah, both teams are definitely looking to come off of well, for Syracuse, they're looking for a bounce back win in a big way after getting clobbered by the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame and Boston College. I mean, they were in the top 25, and after that loss to Florida State, they're out. So yeah, I mean, it was basically a mess, and I'm pretty sure the coach of Syracuse, Dino Babbers, would agree on that. And the Eagles, I mean, they basically had a chance at a 10-win season, but it slipped right through their hands. But left Tallahassee knowing there was still work to be done, starting with senior day. So yeah, the of course Syracuse leads the series, like you said, 31-20, and BC is 13-11 at home against Syracuse. And and the thing for Syracuse, I mean, their quarterback Eric Dungy, they currently have him as doubtful with an upper body injury, so he might not be able to go. And yeah, and of course last year BC went to the Carrier Dome and dumped the Orange 42-14. So, but Steve Adazio knows that they're a good football team, and of course they're in the top 10 in scoring. Defensively, they're in the top 10 in sacks and interceptions. So, of course, AJ Dillon, BC's best player, is hobbling along on a high ankle sprain that has him looking like former Syracuse star Jim Brown after a play, looking like he can't make the next one. But Dillon carried the ball a season high 37 times for 116 yards. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does. And so I basically got Syracuse bouncing back and winning this one. I'm going to say my final score is going to be 28-24. Syracuse beats Boston College, and yeah, nothing more to say. Florio, I give it to you.
Yeah. The health of Syracuse quarterback Eric Dungy makes this a difficult game to pick. If he can go, the Orange would seemingly be in line to finish off a 9-win regular season. The Eagles are trying to salvage 8 wins and are at home. So I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm actually going to go with Boston College to win this one. I'm going to say final score 31-28, Boston College over Syracuse, especially after that putrid effort by Syracuse against Notre Dame. I was expecting a lot more in that one, but boy, howdy, I mean, I'll take it any way I can get it as a Notre Dame fan. So no doubt about it. 36-3 at Yankee Stadium. Wow, unbelievable. So nothing more to say here. I'm going with BC 31-28. So, and now, Bullock, we move on to another one of our all-time favorite rivalry games in college football. A game that's given us many of Shakespearean drama moments over the years. The Iron Bowl. The number one reigning, defending, undisputed college football playoff national champion, Alabama Crimson Tide, at home at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, squaring off against their hated rivals, the Auburn Tigers. And it's only fitting that this game is the SEC on CBS. With Brad Nessler, with Gary Danielson, with Jamie Erdahl, and Alabama, huge favorites in this one. 24-point favorites in this latest installment of the Iron Bowl. And I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, when you think Iron Bowl, you cannot help but think about the greatest Iron Bowl ever played, which was in 2013 in Auburn, when Auburn had that infamous kick six, the great Vern Lundquist. 2 words, folks. Chris Davis. Yeah, we'll never forget that. So, but anyway, we're not going to have any drama of that magnitude. Oh, no. Auburn comes into this game as the last team to beat the Tide, something the Tide surely will be aware of. It looks like Alabama got caught napping against the Citadel last week, And that could very well be because Nick Saban and company focused their attention on this game. That said, look for Auburn to pull out all the stops in this all-important game, including a variety of blitz packages to harass Tua Tagovailoa, who could have his Heisman moment at the perfect moment. This is a giant spread for the Iron Bowl, considering the Tigers' largest loss this season was by 17 points to Georgia. Auburn is in the role of spoiler here, and that means head coach Gus Malzahn will pull out all the stops. Auburn is not winning this game, but it can hang around with nothing to lose. Still, I like the Tide coming off a subpar by its standards performance against the Citadel. So I got Alabama, and I got Alabama winning big. This ain't going to be no Shakespearean drama Iron Bowl like 2013. Oh, no. So Bama all day. I will say the final score here. I'm going to go 45-20, Alabama over Auburn. Nothing more to say. Bullock, when it comes to Alabama, you know what it is. And Auburn will be, unfortunately, their next victim.
Yep. They'll be just another victim of Alabama. I got nothing more to say. There is going to be no drama with this one. 48-21. Alabama all over Auburn. Nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next game, and it comes from the Big Ten.
You'll be starting it off, Bullock. It's a 3:30 kickoff over on ABC. The number 12 Penn State Nittany Lions at home at Beaver Stadium in Happy Valley. They'll be hosting the Terrapins of Maryland. ABC will have this contest, and working that one will be Mark Jones with Dusty Dvoracek and Molly McGrath. They will be in Happy Valley for this one, and the spread favors Penn State by 13.5. So, the Bullock, you know what Maryland did. Oh, Maryland nearly pulled the upset of the year last week against Ohio State, coming up just short on a 2-point conversion in overtime. And Penn State, it's been a good year, but not as good as we expected it to be.
Yeah, they have one more chance to jockey for bowl position in the postseason. And the Terrapins, it's a big game for them. And, one more excuse me, one more win, and it makes Maryland bowl eligible. And a loss for Maryland will not only cap the career of Maryland's senior class, some of whom have played for 4 different coaches over their tenure, but it will likely mean more players and coaches leaving the program as the tumult from the summertime death of Terrapins lineman Jordan McNair from heat stroke continues. We all know that sad story that's gone along. Yeah, but the thing is, Florio, I have a question for you. If Maryland wins, would they even accept a bowl appearance after what they've gone through with the Jordan McNair tragedy?
That's a good question. I can't give you an answer on that. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. Jordan McNair, if the Terrapins were smart, they would not accept a bowl invitation because I'm pretty sure if they were to go, that would just pretty much put some anger into the parents of Jordan McNair who have been really upset with the program with the way they've handled the whole thing. That's just my personal opinion on the whole thing, but they don't have to worry about it because I got Penn State winning this one, so I really got nothing more to say, and I'm going to go with the I'm going to go 38-17. Penn State beats Maryland, so nothing more to say. Fleur, I give it to you.
It's Trace McSorley's last home game, so emotions will be high for a Nittany Lions senior class that changed the direction of this program under head coach James Franklin. Maryland, meanwhile, left it all on the line in last week's loss to Ohio State. The Terps are playing for bowl eligibility. Penn State still has a chance for a New Year's Day 6 bowl. So you're going to see the difference here. So I agree with you, Bullock. I got Penn State winning. I got it just a smidgen higher than you do. I have it 42-17 in favor of Penn State. So 42-17, Penn State over Maryland. So moving on here, 3:30 kickoff on the Big Ten Network. The number 19 Northwestern Wildcats, their home finale at Ryan Field in Evanston. They're going to be hosting their arch rivals, the Fighting Illini of Illinois, the Matt Ward special, as I call this. Big Ten Network will have it, and on the call for that one will be Kevin Kugler, James Laurinaitis, and Lisa Byington. And Northwestern opening up as 17-point favorites. So let me find my... Okay. Northwestern won this game 42-7 last year, and the Illini are coming off a 63-0 loss at home against Iowa. The Wildcats can't and won't look ahead to the Big Ten championship here because they need to be as sharp as possible heading into that game. Clayton Thorson hit 71.4% of his passes last week against Minnesota. So there's really nothing more to say on this. I got Northwestern winning, and I got Northwestern winning big. I'm going to say final score 38-13, Northwestern over Illinois. So Bullock, Northwestern, they got to do their job, not look past an inferior Illinois team before they go into what will be, without question, the biggest game in school history next week.
Yeah, I definitely got to agree with you there, Florio. Northwestern can't. They just need to do their job against Illinois. They cannot look past them and focus on the Big Ten title game. They just need to do their job, take care of their business. Led by their senior quarterback Clayton Thorson, and I think they're going to. I think they should definitely have no problem with Illinois. So, yeah, I got Northwestern winning. I'm going to say 37-17, and they will certainly be on their way to what will most definitely be the biggest game in the history of that school. So nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next game when we go to the ACC.
And our final 3:30 kickoff, the number 24 Pittsburgh Panthers squaring off against the Miami Hurricanes, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. This game will be over on ESPN. And on the call for that one will be Anish Shroff, Ahmad Brooks, and Roddy Jones. And the U actually opening up as 4.5-point favorites. So Bullock, we all remember this game last year in Pittsburgh. Miami was poised to make the college football playoff, but, well, they took their eye off the ball, and Pittsburgh absolutely manhandled them. They're out for revenge this year. So what do you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're definitely out for revenge. They're out for revenge this year. The Panthers are, they're taking a national ranking and wearing the ACC Central Division crown into their meeting with the Hurricanes. Unlike the Panthers, the Hurricanes do have bowl eligibility sewn up, but their hopes of repeating as division champs vanished in the rubble of a 4-game losing streak that finally ended with a 38-14 win over Virginia Tech last week. They were looking to finish with a 500 conference record and gain a little momentum heading into the postseason. So, well, and of course, Mark Richt acknowledged the loss to Pitt last year that ended Miami's 10-winning streak of 10 games and taken away the Hurricanes' momentum heading into the ACC championship game, something Pitt's Pat Narduzzi is trying to avoid in this game. So, yeah, Miami is definitely looking for some revenge here, so this is tough for me to call here, but I'm actually going to say Miami gets their revenge here. I think they'll win it 28-21, and I think it'll make them feel a little better. I mean, yeah, it won't take anything back from what happened last year, but I think it'll make them feel just a little better. So, nothing more to say, Floro. I give it to you.
Miami isn't playing for much other than bowl positioning, and it's up against a tough Pittsburgh team that can take a 5-game win streak into the ACC championship game. The Panthers have averaged 346 rushing yards a game with 15 touchdowns on the ground in that stretch. That's the difference. I'm sorry, Bullock. I got to disagree with you. I got to go with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh wins. I'm going to go 28-24. Pittsburgh over Miami. So nothing more to say on that. Let's move on to our primetime slate of action. We started off with the matchup that will be on at 7 o'clock on ESPN. The number 2 Clemson Tigers at home at Memorial Stadium in Death Valley. They're going to be hosting their in-state rivals, the Gamecocks of South Carolina. ESPN will have this one. And I believe it's the Steve Levy crew on the call for this one. Yes, Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, and Todd McShay. They will have this one. And I do believe Clemson is the favorite here. Oh, yeah, sizable favorite. Clemson opening up as 26.5-point favorites. So Clemson can match South Carolina's 5-game win streak from 2009 to 13 with a win on Saturday night. Clemson looks better each week, and that trend should continue against the rival Gamecocks. Quarterback Trevor Lawrence should continue his development with an efficient showing while relying on Travis Etienne and Tavian Feaster to gash South Carolina's defense. South Carolina head coach Will Muschamp will make sure his team plays the Tigers tough, but the disparity in talent will be evident. The Tigers have a chance to win 5 in a row in this fierce in-state rivalry, and it comes against a team whose biggest loss was a 41-17 blowout against Georgia back on September 8th in Week 2. The last 2 meetings have been snoozers, where the Tigers won by an average of 36.5 points. South Carolina shows a little more fight this time, but at the end of the day, I got Clemson winning this one. I'm going to say final score 42-17. All Clemson, all the time. Nothing more to say. So Bullock should be an easy one for Clemson, even though South Carolina's got a decent team.
Yeah, it should be an easy one for Clemson. Clemson all the way. So there's really nothing more that needs to be said. So I mean, Clemson will continue its run here. So there's really nothing more for me to say. So let's move on to our next primetime game, and this is another rivalry game.
We've had the Battle of Georgia. We've had the Battle of Florida. Now we have the Battle of Kentucky. 7 o'clock over on ESPN2. The number 15 Kentucky Wildcats squaring off against their in-state rivals, the Louisville Cardinals, at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium in Louisville. This game will be over on ESPN2. And that one will be Kevin Brown and Andre Ware. The spread favors Kentucky by 17. So nothing more to say here. I mean, Bullock, a few weeks ago, Kentucky had the biggest game in school history, but they absolutely laid an egg against Georgia. They bounced back nicely since. And then, of course, Louisville, you know their story. A miserable year, mainly because Lamar Jackson is not walking through that door anytime soon.
Yeah, and he ain't walking through that door to help this struggling Louisville team. So I got Kentucky winning this one big. My final score, 41-20 is going to be my final score. Nothing more to say. Floro, I give it to you.
Kentucky can clinch a 9-win season if it takes care of business against an in-state rival looking for its next head coach. Louisville has won 6 of the last 7 meetings, but the Cardinals are in a different spot this year. The Wildcats aren't in a position to be merciful. So I got Kentucky winning big as well. I'm going to go 38-16, Kentucky over Louisville. Nothing more to say. Let's move on. 7 o'clock over on Fox Sports 1. The number 25 Iowa State Cyclones at home at Jack Trice Stadium. This one's over on Fox Sports 1. And on the call for that one will be Kevin Fitzgerald and Eric Wood. And Iowa State opening up as 13.5 to 14-point favorites. So let's Iowa State is locked out of the Big 12 championship game now, and the Wildcats need a win to guarantee a bowl game for longtime coach Bill Snyder. Kansas State has won back-to-back games in ugly fashion, but I mean, there is a chance for an upset, but I got to go with Iowa State in this one. I'm going to go 24-23, Iowa State over Kansas State. Nothing more to say except Bullock, your thoughts.
Yeah, Kansas State definitely needs this more than Iowa State because, like you said, I mean, they're basically want to clinch they want to get bowl eligibility for their legendary coach Bill Snyder, but that's not going to happen here. So I got Iowa State winning this one as well. I'm going to say my final score is going to be I'm going to go 24-17. Iowa State beating Kansas State. So let's just move right along, and we got a big one here in the SEC here.
Another one of our games of the week. I will consider this the number 5 game of the week because of the implications of our final game. 7:30 kickoff over on the SEC network. The number 7 LSU Tigers squaring off against the number 22 Texas A&M Aggies at Kyle Field in College Station. The SEC network will have this contest. Taylor Zarzar, Matt Stinchcomb, and Chris Budden will be on the call, and Texas A&M actually opening up as 3-point favorites. So Bullock, your thoughts on LSU and Texas A&M, our number 5 game of the week?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I mean, LSU, I mean, they're wary of the run defense of Texas A&M. I mean, and basically, I mean, yeah, I mean, this, of course, LSU looks to continue its run to try to get a college football playoff spot. If not that, a spot in the New Year's 6 bowl game. So, yeah, I mean, and the thing is that run defense of Texas A&M is allowing just 80 rushing yards a game, and that is the second fewest in the country. So, and LSU realizes they're going to have to run the football if they want to have any chance. So, but basically, to me, I got LSU winning this one. I think it'll be a close one, but I'm going to say 35-28. LSU beats Texas A&M. So, yeah, nothing more to say. Florio, I give it to you.
The Tigers are a pick'em against Texas A&M on the road, and that definitely raises our curiosity. I mean, LSU has been the more consistent team most of the year, especially on defense. Quarterback Joe Burrow leads another win that gives the Texas an inside shot at a New Year's 6 bowl. So I'm going with LSU as well, Bullock. A little lower scoring than you have it, but I'm going to go LSU 27-20. So nothing really more to say. Let's move on now. And this is the game for me right here. 8 o'clock on ABC. My number 3, Notre Dame Fighting Irish, squaring off against their hated rivals, the USC Trojans, at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum in Los Angeles. Saturday night on ABC, you know who's working this one. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Maria Taylor. And Notre Dame opening up as 11 to 11.5-point favorites. Oh my goodness. The last team standing between Notre Dame and its first college football playoff appearance is a floundering USC team that looks worse for wear after a tough loss at UCLA. The Trojans seem largely incapable of taking advantage of a beleaguered Bruins team, and they'll find the Irish much stiffer competition. It's not a matter of whether Notre Dame wins, but by how much. Look for quarterback Ian Book and running back Dexter Williams to move the ball downfield, while defensive stud Jerry Tillery makes life miserable for USC quarterback JT Daniels. If the Irish win, they're in the college football playoff. It's that simple. Notre Dame has won its last 4 games by an average of 23.5 points a game. They are the better team here. But even in this slide, the Trojans have lost just 1 game by double digits since October. Will the pressure make this more interesting? Well, only time will tell. But nonetheless, I got Notre Dame winning this one, of course. My final score, 38-21. Nothing left for me to say on this. I mean, for Notre Dame, it's very simple. Do your job. That's all there is to say on that. All we have to do is win, and we're in. That's it. Don't look past it. Take advantage of this team. This team has been a disappointment. They've been floundering. So there's nothing more to say. So do your damn job, Notre Dame. Get it done, and let's get into the college football playoff. Soldier up, boys. Soldier up. You've been doing very well the last few weeks. I've been very impressed, especially after what they did to Syracuse in Yankee Stadium. So that's all there is to it. So just do your damn job, guys, and soldier up, and that's it. So 38-21, Notre Dame over USC. The magical season continues. Nothing more to say, Bullock. I mean, does Notre Dame do it? Do they wrap it up? Do they run the table and punch their ticket to the college football playoff for their first time in school history?
Yeah, I think they'll definitely punch their ticket to the college football playoff with the win here. I mean, all they gotta do is just basically do their job, and they cannot take USC lightly, because if they do, that could be a recipe for trouble, and that it could lead to an upset. But I do not see that happening. Ian Book and the rest of that offense will take care of their business. So, I mean, Notre Dame will win it. I'm going to say 38-27 is going to be my final score. So, yeah. So there's really nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next game.
Are you ready for a holy war, Bullock? We got the holy war now.
Yep.
Ooh.
The holy war.
10 o'clock kickoff on the number 17 Utah Utes at home at Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City. They're going to be hosting their in-state rivals, the BYU Cougars. Over on FS1, Guy Haberman, Evan Moore on the call, and Utah opening up as 11.5 to 12-point favorites. So, Bullock, who you got in the holy war?
Yeah, well, I got Utah winning this one. I mean, I just think that basically, Utah's got. They got nothing to lose here. I mean, they're already Pac-12 South champions and are already punched a spot in the Pac-12 title game, and yeah, and the thing is, when it comes to this matchup, it'll mark the first time the Holy War has been played on the final weekend in November since 2010. So, yeah, and they're looking to extend their rivalry. The Utes are looking to extend their rivalry winning streak over the Cougars to 8 games after beating the crap out of Colorado last week, and Utah needed an assist in the form of an Oregon win over Arizona State, but the Utes took care of their business. And they had to battle through one of the nation's toughest schedules, as well as injuries to their starting quarterback, their starting running back, but they persevered and they lead the nation in red zone defense, and they also lead the Pac-12 in other defensive categories: total defense, rushing defense, tackles for loss, opponent third down conversion percentage, and turnovers gained. So, yeah, I expect that defense to make it tough on BYU. I am going to say. Sorry about that. A little something popped up. So, I'm going to say 31-21. Utah beats BYU. So, nothing more to say. Florio, I give it to you.
It's the Holy War, and even better since it's the regular season finale. Utah will barrel toward the Pac 12 championship game, but it will be that much better with a victory against the rival Cougars. 7 of the last 8 meetings have been decided by 7 points or fewer. That's all you need to know. I expect another one here, but at the end of the day, I agree with you, Bullock. I got Utah winning this game as well. My final score, Utah wins 35-28. So nothing more to say on that except now let's go into the final game of the week. And oh boy, this is a big one. A big one in the Mountain West, which because of the implications of this one, I consider this the number 4 game of the week right here. A 10:15 kickoff on ESPN. The number 21 Utah State Aggies squaring off against the number 23 Boise State Broncos. Albertson Stadium in Boise. Smurf Turf, baby. You know what that is. It's Smurf Turf time. And this one will be over on ESPN. We have Roy Philpott, Tom Ramsey, and Ed Aschoff on the call. And hold on a minute. I got to pop up on my end. Trying to get rid of it. I do apologize for that. Bullet just had a pop up on his end. I got one on my end. Roy Philpott, Tom Ramsey, and Ed Aschoff on the call over in Boise, and this is taking a little while to get rid of here, but okay, there it goes. All right, Boise State opening up as 2.5-point favorites. So I believe I started off here. So, oh man, what a game here! Utah State and Boise State face off for the Mountain West Mountain Division in a game that will not only have bearings on the Mountain West Championship, but also the Group of Fives representative in the New Year's Six. The quarterback duel between Utah State's Jordan Love, who has 2,845 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, squaring off against Boise State's quarterback Brett Rippon, who has 3,270 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Will be worth watching against defenses that seem evenly matched. And Utah State can get back to the Mountain West Championship for the first time since 2013. But to do that, the Aggies have to go through the Broncos, the defending conference champs. The Broncos are 17-5 all time in this series, and it's on the Aggies to prove them wrong on the Smurf turf. I can't go against Boise State, even though this might be the most entertaining game of the weekend. You never know. This could end up stealing the damn show. But if this was at Utah State, I'd have Utah State all day. But with this being on the Smurf turf, and considering the Broncos 17-5 in the series, I have to go with that. I have to go with Boise State in this one. And what I think will be another 5-star Shakespearean drama classic, 45-40, Boise State over Utah State. I would not be surprised, however, if Utah State were to pull an upset here. So, but I'm going with Boise here, 45-40. Nothing more to say. So, Bullock, who you got in this Mountain West implication game on the Smurf turf?
Yeah, I mean, this should be definitely a good one here, but I'm in agreement with you. I mean, Boise State at home and it's Smurf turf. I just think it's tough for any team to go in there and beat them. So I got Boise State winning this one. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go 49-42. Boise State beats Utah State, so nothing more to say. Let's move on to the power poll.
And of course,
you take it from here.
Yes, I take it from here. because we all know Bullock will agree with me on all of this. So just give me a moment while I load it up here. So yeah, that was fun. So all right, here we go. Starting off at number 10, I'm actually going to go with the team we just talked about, Utah State. Utah State comes in at number 10. The Aggies struggled with surprising Colorado State. Snow and freezing rain had a lot to do with it. A game-winning touchdown by the Rams as time expired was negated by an illegal touching penalty. So I got Utah State coming in at number 10. Number 9, I got LSU. Cupcake Saturday, Baton Rouge style, didn't impress that much. Joe Burrow passed for a career-high 307 yards against Rice. A New Year's Six Bowl is still a definite possibility. Number 8, UCF. What a scene at Spectrum Stadium. Take pride, UCF, in showing the country your best stand. Your best set. Who said the Knights can't play defense? After a beatdown of Cincinnati, part of the remaining drama will be if UCF breaks into the top 10. That would be a first by a group of 5 team in the CFP rankings. Number 7, Oklahoma. Kansas scored its most points in a Big 12 game in 8 years, 40. Kyler Murray made it a discussion in the Heisman Trophy race by accounting for 5 more touchdowns. That about sums up OU's season. Number 6, the maiden Georgia Bulldogs. It's about time someone calls out Georgia for its schedule. Austin Peay, Middle Tennessee, and now UMass. Things do get tougher, however, this week with Georgia Tech, followed by the SEC championship against Alabama. So maiden Georgia comes in at number 6. Number 5, Washington State comes in at number 5. Quarterback Gardner Minshew threw 7 touchdowns late Saturday against Arizona. Coach Mike Leach won 10 games for the second time in his career. Wazoo won 10 for the first time since 2003 and looks like a complete team. Check those defensive numbers. And, of course, the top 4, obviously, it's your 4 teams that make up the top 4 in the college football playoff. Starting at number 4 with Michigan. Stubborn and physical Indiana was a proper prelude to stubborn and physical Ohio State. Michigan clinched a share of the Big Ten East for the first time since divisions were added in 2011. So, nothing more to say there. Number 3, Notre Dame. That de-escalated quickly. The Irish took control from the beginning in Yankee Stadium, beating Syracuse by 33. Sore ribs? What sore ribs? Quarterback Ian Book threw for 292 yards and 2 scores. And it's okay to believe the Irish, a complete, physical, elite playoff team. So Notre Dame is at number 3. Number 2, Clemson. The thrashing of a very down ACC continued with a 35-6 beatdown of Duke. South Carolina this week before the ACC championship game against Pittsburgh. And number 1, of course, it's Alabama. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa did indeed play. Coach Nick Saban did indeed need him against the Citadel. After a 10-10 halftime tie, Tua became the school's single-season passing leader with his 31st touchdown toss. Iron Bowl next. So, of course, it's Bama closing it out. So that's it. That puts the bow on our 7th annual Strictly Sports Football Feast. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We hope you all enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I could probably say this was the most football feast fun we've had maybe ever since we started this whole thing in 2012. So I know we usually do the shout outs on the NFL show, but with tomorrow being Thanksgiving, I think this would be a great time to do the shout outs here. So I think it's only fitting. So Bullock, come on in. A very special Thanksgiving shout outs here, and then we'll put the bow on this thing.
Yeah, and of course, we definitely want to send along our shout-outs to all of our great fans and viewers out there who continue to support all of our shows. And, of course, shout-outs to all of our super fans out there. And, of course, to all of our friends from high school days. You guys know who you are. And we hope you all enjoy your Thanksgiving tomorrow. And, of course, to all of our local personalities from 6, 10, and 12. And all of our national personalities from ESPN, Fox Sports, and all the other networks out there. of course, our friends from the Road Show, you know who they are, and of course, the former co-hosts. So, and of course, happy Thanksgiving to our Grand Poobah, Derek Ferreira, to Michael Fletcher, who couldn't be with us tonight, and of course, happy Thanksgiving to you, Anthony Florio, and your family. Hopefully, you guys have a great day tomorrow with your family and loved ones, and of course, definitely happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. And Thanksgiving, it's not just about the turkey and all the other food that's going to be out there. I mean, it's part of it, but it's about giving thanks to, and it's all about uh, spending time with your friends, your family, your loved ones, and being thankful for all the great things that you have in your life. So enjoy the day tomorrow, everybody, and of course, don't. I mean, of course, stay safe. Don't do anything stupid, and just enjoy this. This special day, and of course, Thanksgiving, the second most beautiful holiday, and of course, the number one, of course, is Christmas. So yeah, so that's gonna do it for me. So until Friday night for our NFL Friday, this is Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now. And once again, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Florio, it's yours.
Yes, indeed, Bullock. A very special happy Thanksgiving and shout outs to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. We want to wish each and every one of you out there a very happy Thanksgiving indeed. Happy Thanksgiving and shout outs to the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Whitson, Kevin Whitson, and the Whitson family. Of course, the same to Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, and Daniel Luttrell from the UK, our insiders. And of course, our first ladies, our other first ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway, the crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Albert Raderson, Rob Parsons, and of course, good old MF Michael Fletcher, who couldn't be with us tonight due to work commitments beyond his control, and of course, the man himself, Derek Ferreira, who puts all this together each and every week. We can't do it without him, so a very special shout out to him indeed. And of course, all of our personalities from Channel 6, 10, and 12, our, our friends at ESPN, FS1, NFL Network, NHL Network, NBA TV, MLB Network. Of course, Lindsey McCormick, Stata Sorrell, my friends from the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson, and the former co-hosts Megan Mooney and Mary Larson. And of course, last but not least, my wonderful friends and church family over at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. If you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95 in Providence. Sunday morning at 9, Bible study. Sunday morning, a little after 10, the Sunday morning service. Wednesdays at 7, Bible study. We didn't have one tonight because of the Thanksgiving holiday, but I'm sure it'll be back next week. And other things going on. Look forward to seeing them on Sunday. So, it's going to be great. So, and most importantly, I want to send an extra special shout out to our dear friend Mike Keenan and family. I did a special podcast with Mike Keenan over on the Anchor earlier this evening, and it was a blessing. It was an honor and a blessing to be a part of that as always. So give that a listen on Mike Keenan's Anchor podcast. So give that a whirl, and of course to each and every one of you out there, a very happy, safe, and blessed Thanksgiving Day. Bullock pretty much said everything. I mean, it's all about spending time with the loved ones, family, friends, what have you, and taking some time to give thanks for all that you have, all the blessings that you have. I mean, you're more blessed than you think. You really are. So that's it for that. We'll next be with you on Friday night for NFL Friday, as we will run down the rest of the slate for week number 12 in the NFL, and in our NFL Power Rankings. That'll be 10:30 Friday night, and And then Monday night, immediately following Raw, we have Ridiculously Raw as we continue the road to TLC. Review Monday Night Raw, and of course my latest Tony's Take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. And Tuesday night we got the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF over on Brace Fair 95. We'll run down SmackDown Live. Maybe MF will have something in the Mikey's mindset. We'll see. And then next week, for all intents and purposes, I do believe it will be the season finale of College Football Thursday. We go from rivalry week to championship week. I mean, we're going to have a lot of great conference championship games to get into. The SEC championship game, of course, that's the headliner right there. Bama and Georgia, that national championship rematch. I mean, that's going to be a sight to see, I'll tell you that. ACC championship, Big Ten championship, Big 12 championships. So much to get into next week, next Thursday, and then, of course, NFL Friday after that. So that's it. So until Friday night for NFL Friday, it's Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock and in spirit. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, Didi Woodson, and Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other, especially on this day. And until Friday night for NFL Friday, you've been watching the 7th annual Strictly Sports Football Feast right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio. So long. Bye, everybody. Bye. And have a safe and happy and blessed Thanksgiving, my friends.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
God bless.